Author and activist Marty Rubin wrote, "It's no small thing to feel the warmth of the sun on one's skin." And while soaking up some rays can brighten your day and lighten your mood, help you produce vitamin D, improve your sleep, and even lower blood pressure and improve heart health, too much sun and environmental exposure can be damaging in the short term and in the long term to your skin. Throughout history, soft and smooth skin has been a measure of youth, beauty, and status. But the skin's most important functions are our body's protection, regulation, and sensation. So while topical creams and serums, like LifePharm's Lamiderm Apex, can help replace lost moisture and heal skin from the outside in, healthy skin also needs nutritional support that will keep our skin youthful and healthy and heal our skin from the inside out. Welcome, everyone, to Healthy Cells, Healthy You. I'm your host, Janet Walker. I've been working in the healthcare community for 30 years, and for 16 of those years, I've been a writer and producer for the award-winning national PBS health information programs American Health Journal and Innovations in Medicine. We've interviewed thousands of doctors, scientists, and researchers on every topic related to health, medicine, and medical technology. You can watch current episodes of Innovations in Medicine on your local PBS channel, or you can stream our programs on the American Health Journal channel, the Better Health channel, and TV Healthy Kids. This podcast is sponsored by the good folks at LifePharm Incorporated, a company whose innovative cellular repair products are backed by extensive science, research, and clinical studies. Today, I'm so happy to have Dr. Erna Wong back with me to talk about OMNIA, a nutritional capsule that heals and promotes healthy skin, hair, and nails. Dr. Wong is a board-certified medical practitioner that has worked in the healthcare field for over 30 years. She's also a researcher and a scientific advisory board member for LifePharm, advising and educating about the products that bring together ingredients from around the world to create blends that promote cellular repair for health and longevity. Welcome back, Dr. Wong. It's so good to see you again.
Very good to see you. It's such a pleasure to share the product that we have.
Let's learn about skin protection and talk about OMNIA. Now, we hear a lot about sun damage and other environmental factors aging skin, but nutritional support is often overlooked. Why is good nutrition so important for good skin?
Well, if you understand the building blocks of anything is critical. Without the building blocks, you can't build. So nutrients are offering our body, every single part of our body needs nutrients. That is what it's coming from. That you need the building blocks, whether it be protein, it could be carbohydrates, fats and minerals and vitamins. So if you're trying to bake a cake and you don't have the ingredients, you're not going to have a cake. So if your skin needs oils, needs protein, needs vitamins and minerals, you're not going to have good skin if you don't have the whole recipe. That's how I would describe it.
Let's talk specifically about OMNIA and the ingredients in the supplement. Okay, first is their core ingredient, which is the foundation of many of their supplements, and it's that egg bioactive growth factor. What is FGF or egg bioactive growth factor, and what's the role in this supplement of that ingredient?
I think it's in that word itself, bioactive growth factor. If you don't grow, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like having an egg and just sitting there. So the growth factor is really important in this egg growth factor because it provides essential ingredients like the collagen, elastin, and fibronectin that makes your skin. So really, you need the essential components to be able to grow your skin.
And then what exactly is this ingredient? How is it derived? Because it is really key to a lot of the supplements that LifePharm manufactures.
Correct. It comes from the words they share. It's an egg. It's chick egg embryo that they use to extract the active ingredient, that growth factor or the FGF. And then from then, that they isolate it to be able to put into the product that when you consume it, it is affording your body that growth factor, which without, again, you wouldn't be able to produce those elements essential for skin production.
And as I understand it, it's extracted at the 9th day of fertilization, which is when the egg has all of the elements for life.
In the development from an embryo, the different stages determine what the next step is. It's kind of like your architectural blueprint. You have to lay the foundation, and then you pour or you put up the scaffolding for the framing of the house. So there's timing. And so the timing of when that embryo is at that 9th day, it has now certain components that's there to go to the next step. I think that's what's important to understand, that timing is critical for things happening because you go step by step. You certainly wouldn't put the framing of the house without the foundation. Your house would not be able to stand. So you're exactly right that the 9th day when the embryo is there for them to quote unquote harvest or take that FGF, that environment is providing what is necessary for that FGF to be there to begin with. Because if you had the egg at the first day, it's not there.
It really is a unique and kind of amazing ingredient. And having a discussion about these growth factors, we should probably talk about telomeres, the importance of telomeres, and how this ingredient impacts telomeres.
Absolutely. I try to describe, and it'd be nice to have a picture. Telomeres are kind of like the caps on the ends of your shoelaces. So these are the caps on the end of your very critical, your DNA. Your DNA is your blueprint. And I describe what happens if the cap comes off your shoelaces. It unwinds and unravels. And now it's difficult for you to put that shoelace through your shoe holes to tie your shoes, correct? To put that shoelace through lacing through your shoe. Likewise, with the DNA, if you unravel it, then you're not having the full function of your DNA to be the blueprint and tell how your body's supposed to make this or make that. So this is why the telomere is very critical. If you don't have the telomere cap, either it's too short or missing, then in truth, the DNA is not functioning, and the DNA is critical for the cell well-being, survival. So people have demonstrated that when you're having a shortened or missing telomere, you're actually aging. Your cells are dying. So I like that comparison, that visual, that you can see the shoelace with the end plastic cap that somebody made and made it very helpful for us to lace our shoes. Then the equivalent is your DNA, which is double-stranded. If you know and understand, they have a pattern to it or a structure. And if it unwinds, it doesn't work.
So then how does the FGF ingredient impact the health of our telomeres?
It is playing an important function to help the telomere not shorten, to be, in a sense, intact, so that your DNA is healthy and therefore your cells are healthy and not going to suffer cell death, for instance. So this is where the FGF is a critical role, has a critical role in helping your telomeres not shorten or to fall off, for instance.
So then the FGF ingredient in OMNIA is not just good for skin and hair and nails, but actually good for other functions of our body.
It's just not isolating its function to your skin cell. But think about it. All cells need active ingredients or critical elements to be able to make that cell. I mean, when it comes down to it, all cells share the common thing or common factor. They all have DNA. In order to make it, you need the blueprint. Without the blueprint, it's like without a recipe. How do you know how to make a cookie or cake? Or you can make a mistake and you end up making lasagna when you wanted a cake, right? Because that's your recipe.
Right.
So it's really critical that the DNA be preserved as perfectly as it can be. And therefore, right, you're correct. FGF is in all of their products for a good reason. It's so critical. It's essentially, if I want to share with you, if you don't have oxygen, you're going to die. So if you don't have the FGF, the cells aren't going to grow. It's not living, correct?
Makes sense. Let's move on to the next ingredient in the product, which is spirulina. And I think that's an ingredient that most people aren't familiar with. What is spirulina and what is its role in the product?
Spirulina is a rich source of a digestible plant protein. And the main thing we all know is antioxidant. People hear it over and over again. I want to describe oxidation. It's happening like you have a nail in your home and it's exposed to the environment oxidation. What happens? It rusts. Is that a healthy nail or not a healthy nail? Yep. So that's oxidation, literally. So if you imagine your body is like a nail and then it's being oxidized, what is it doing? It's decaying. It's wearing down. It's rusting. And therefore you have disease and you don't have healthy body, healthy cells.
That's a great analogy. I
love to share things that people are familiar with because sometimes it's hard for people who don't know biology to understand. So I want you to be able to see it as something you are familiar. You've gone out and see your car rusting or a bike rusting. That's oxidation. Your metal or whatever is being worn down. It's not going to last long. As a matter of fact, with time, that nail will break. It's amazing that rusting of that nail ends up becoming so thin and losing that nail, your structure is going to fall, right? You have no nail to hold the wood together. Those two pieces of wood are going to fall apart. So likewise us, if we have a rusty joint, our joint's going to fall apart. Your knee and your leg is going to separate because there's no nail to hold it together. That's what I
Makes sense. And normally when we hear about antioxidants, we hear about blueberries and spinach, but spirulina is something new.
It's not new. This is the saddest part. I want to share that modern medicine, Western medicine, has pushed aside so many things that are natural. You think about the ocean. Let's say spirulina is in the ocean as well, or something equivalent. Do animals need to come on land? And animals in the or life in the ocean do not have disease because they really have everything they need. Even if you look, there are creatures that live forever. You can have a lobster because of what it has in its body, chemicals and so on, can live years and years and years. So there are sea creatures, if you want, sea life, because they have what they need. And they don't have oxidation, then they don't wear down. The oxidation is a killer in aging us, in shortening our life. Just as a nail gets shortened if it is oxidized. But if you have an antioxidant and keep that nail as brand new as it once was when it was first formed, what do you have? You have a youthful young nail. So all these products, to tell you the truth, it's going to make you look and live young.
Nice. Well, now in that antioxidant blend that OMNIA contains, it's not just a single ingredient. There are also other ingredients in the blend that help with oxidation. So can you tell us a little bit about the other ingredients that are part of their antioxidant and botanical blend?
They have the grapeseed extract, selenium, zinc, and magnesium to help protect from damage. Because, sun damage or other free radicals. It's interesting. Later on, we should talk about stress. That stress is a real big factor in inflammation and aging of us. So, there's the rejuvenation complex that has the hyaluronic acid. People share about that. Then you have fish collagen and L-cysteine amino acids. So the rejuvenation complex is important, again, for the critical elements for skin or even cell health in reality.
It sounds like all these ingredient blends are very well thought out.
Very, very much, yeah.
And then Another ingredient that I was surprised to see in a skin supplement is vitamin B, which I always associated with energy, brain health, but Omnia contains a super vitamin B complex. Why is vitamin B important for the skin?
Vitamin B complex, there's quite a few of them, and they really are very critical. A lot of people should study nutrition would understand that there is even vitamin B that prevents you from having anemia. And if you're anemic, think about what happens. You don't have a way to carry oxygen. Then again, remember, oxygen is critical. So there's B12 that's part of your blood formation. And then it also, B12 can affect your nerves, and you can have issues with defects in nervous system, and that's not good because your mental well-being relies on good brain tissue, nervous tissue to function properly. So if you went through all the B1, B2, B3, they all have very critical roles. So a B complex is very essential.
And then the last ingredient I want to talk about is red clover blossoms. So what are red clover blossoms? What do they do?
They're improving the moisture or content and the makeup of your skin, because you know how your skin feels if it's all dry versus if it's nice and healthy, it's got the right oils, right hydration. So you don't want it too oily and so on, but just having the right amount of the texture and hydration of your cells is critical, especially you know that the skin is the largest organ that protects us. It's a barrier for infections and chemicals that comes through and enters our body and destroys us. So we have to have good care and respect for our skin. So if you think about Omnia, why the critical role, it's not only to let you look youthful, but it literally is keeping you young and healthy and not at risk for death and deterioration, because it's the barrier for so many things that you're exposed to.
Before we continue to talk about Omnia, I want to pick up on something you just mentioned, which is stress. Tell me why it is so important to minimize stress if we want healthy skin and healthy hair and healthy nails.
At the very fundamental part of stress, you actually have a stress hormone that is regulated by your one organ, adrenal gland, and it releases cortisol. Now, it's important because if you're under stress, you need help to have right response to your body. Like you've heard of fight and flight. Also, you need extra sugars. If you're going to run, you need energy. So cortisol does release sugars. So somebody who takes a man-made cortisol equivalent, some of you may have had prednisone, and it is a cortisol man-made equivalent, then you notice your sugar rises because you need more energy source if you're going to be running or trying to deal with stress. But too much of it, it's sustained too long. Number one, you deplete your cortisol, and that's dangerous. Then you are vulnerable to not being able to respond, not being able to compensate, because our body is always in balance, trying to help us stay well and to avoid, for instance, inflammation is a big one. So if you have high stress, that sugar too high can cause damage to your tissues. That's why people with diabetes, who are constant stress, they have high cortisol release, they have high sugars, and it causes damage, inflammation. So controlling stress is a fine balance because we need to respond to our environment to save us from danger or harm. But if you're under that too long, it depletes you, and then you don't have the tools and the equipment or the whatever to fight and protect you. So the reason all these things we're talking about then in Omnia is really trying to stabilize those things that keep us from free radicals, from oxidation, from inflammation. So it's a very
Interesting.
complex, if you think about it, system. And it's amazing that our body's able to do that. But that's why people are being taught to slow down, to meditate, to calm down, to not get over worried, over excited, things that increase our stress level. It's very important for us to allow our body to be as much in balance. I would share with you sometime, it's like a rubber band. What happens if it's just laying there limp? It does nothing. If you
Right.
over pull and stretch it, it can snap. That's too much stress. But if you put just the right amount of tension, it can work and do something like, ding, you shoot the rubber band.
Another great analogy.
That's
Yeah,
where
makes
it's really
sense.
important that we, quote unquote, manage our stress. You don't want to be that rubber band that's overstretched and then snaps. That's literally what happens when we're stressed too much. We will snap because we've been under too much strain, under too much pressure with the stress that we experience.
All right. Well, now let's get back to talking a little bit more about Omnia. So, what are some of the overall benefits of taking Omnia?
Well, you have the critical role of taking care of your skin. Not only because you feel great when your skin looks and feels healthy, but it is the very important barrier. It's the biggest, in a sense, organ for our immune system to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
You think about when you cut yourself and then introduce a bacteria, you can die from that. People don't respect their skin. They need to take better care
Yeah.
of their skin from skin damage or dehydrating or putting things on it that absorbs through it. I mean, people are aware now, antiperspirants, even sunblock is got consequences. They're really looking at sunblock is actually causing us more harm because
Really?
that you can get and the
Wow.
other additives that might be in it, and then the false sense of security that people have. When I put sunscreen on, I can be out and reapply. No, the penetration by the UV rays will be there and cause skin damage. So the education piece is really critical. You and I know that. That's why we're doing this.
Right.
Without knowledge, people suffer and die. Knowledge is powerful. It gives you the key to accomplish many things. So if you boil down to it, what in our life is critical is learning and never stopping to learn more about how to take care of our health, how to keep our nutrients and ingredients that we need to nourish our body. And again, going back, especially the skin is the largest organ for protecting us.
Gosh, I remember when I was in high school and college, we just wanted tan skin. We would put baby oil on our skin and get as much of that UV as possible. And I know that a lot of people are suffering the consequences of doing that in their younger years. So you're right. Education is so important.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of taking Omnia is that it defends and repairs skin from photo damage and UV exposure. What is photo damage?
Photo damage would be, again, the sun has heat. If you think about it, you actually can cook something under the sun, right? You can
Right.
magnify the energy. So photo damage can cause heat changes to your skin ingredients. And the worst is if you have damage to your DNA again. Anything that's going to disrupt your DNA, your blueprint, then you can get skin cancer. Think about all the things that photo damage by causing the cells to degrade or to decompose. And then, if you have a burn, it's critical. The water loss, because your skin keeps the water content in your body in control. You become dehydrated very rapidly if you have how many degrees of burn that removes the protective layer. They have to put you on IV hydration to keep the amount of water loss that your skin had kept you from losing. So photo damage is not only from the thermal. You know how you feel when you're sun, you feel like you're cooking. Your
Right.
skin starts to feel so hot. You touch your skin, it's literally hot from the thermal. But there's also wavelengths in the sun that can also cause, disruption of your DNA. And therefore, there's a fine balance of how much sunlight we should get to give us things that keep us from depression, for instance, or give us vitamin D.
Right.
It's a two-edged sword. I think what it is, all things in moderation, not too much.
A fine balance.
Right.
Fine
Like we
balance, yeah.
talked before about stress. If you don't have, quote unquote, any stress at all, you're really not doing anything. You're just sitting there like a lifeless rubber band.
I can understand how creams and lotions can put moisture in the skin, but one of the benefits of Omnia is also to put moisture in the skin. So how does something that you're taking internally put moisture into the skin and elasticity into the skin?
Well, it goes back to what are the ingredients. We talked about the spirulina that helps for, fighting the oxidation. We talked about the growth factor with the embryo. So it's going to keep your DNA healthy. So all these things are important because your cell function, cell integrity is a fine, complex process to keep the moisture and all the cells healthy. So you take something orally, these are the building blocks you need. We talked about that. So if you don't have the building blocks that's in Omnia, you won't have what it is to even just build a healthy cell. But then also the healthy cell has the DNA and other components that need to function properly. So the building blocks, and then the building blocks are allowing you to make other products, because the building blocks to protect your DNA, then your DNA is making proteins and other elastin and so on materials that are needed for your skin to stay healthy, wrinkle-free, etc.
So it's actually less about adding moisture to the skin as it is about preserving the moisture that's already there.
Because really, in truth, you can have all the moisture going through your bloodstream or water, but your water is evaporating through your skin because your skin is not complete or whole. Then what's the good of water that you are drinking going through your bloodstream, but the skin cells are not able to keep you from dehydrating and evaporating or losing the water content?
As far as the recommended dosage goes, and let me say, I know that our listeners can't see you, but you have beautiful skin and very thick, lovely hair. So you must be doing something right to take care of your skin and your hair. I won't say what your age is, but I know you have a lot of experience. and your skin is really lovely. I mean, I don't see any wrinkles at all.
Think about it. If your skin is intact, you don't evaporate, you don't lie. So that's how I don't have wrinkles. I have gone from a shriveled up raisin to a plumped up grape. I've reversed aging. It can reverse aging because what you're doing is you're hydrating your cells and they're happy. So being respectful to take care of our skin and the products or the nutrients you take that you have in your Omnia is a testimony that you take Omnia, you will have healthy, younger, wrinkle-free skin. Don't forget, your skin does incorporate your hair. They are originating from hair follicles in your skin. So Omnia does also give you healthy hair.
So we want to remind our listeners that nutritional supplements are important, but also staying hydrated, drinking a lot of water, making sure that you're not becoming dehydrated is also very, very important to healthy skin, healthy
Now, we
hair.
may talk about it. The kind of water you drink is important. There is, quote unquote, dead water, and then there's live water. The pH of it and other things are so important.
Well, what about what comes out of your tap?
Right. You got to be careful. There's a lot of contaminants. And I want to share, I'm learning more the frequency that the water takes on. as it's traveling through the pipes, as it's coming from where its origins is very critical. You can actually have water that has negative frequencies and dangerous things that can make you sicker, not better. So you paying attention to the quality of the water. It's not only quantity, it's quality.
Well, I'm going to leave that as a teaser for another episode, because I know that you've done a lot of research with water and frequencies, and it's such a fascinating topic and really an important topic. And I know that we're going to want to spend a full episode on that.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be a little teaser for another episode. So lastly, about Omnia, I wanted to ask, what is the recommended dosage and when should people take it? I know it has vitamin B in it. If they take it at night, will that give them too much energy to sleep? What's the right way and the right amount of Omnia to take?
2 capsules a day, preferably with a meal, and early in the day is the recommendation for it. Because you take it with a meal, you think about when you eat, your fruits, vegetables that have hopefully the vitamins and minerals we need. That makes sense. So Omnia is a nutrient supplement until, to tell you the truth, our foods that we are obtaining has the nutrients and supplements we automatically would need. But that's not happening because our soil and our plants are not growing and providing the nutrients we need. So this is where we need the supplements at this time. If it were possible that we automatically got it from our usual day-to-day sources, then we win. But someday I'll share with you the mnemonic for good health is DRESS. So we could go over that sometime.
Okay, so you can't leave us just hanging. What does DRESS stand for?
D stands for your diet. We talked about nutrition. What you eat is incorporating the building blocks. R is reducing stress. E is for exercise. You don't use it, you lose it. And I can share so many examples. A good one. You cast your arm. You're not using your arm. Your arms atrophy, the muscles, right? E is exercise. Right. S is sleep, because that's when our body rejuvenates. You need rest just like you rest a farm. After a certain year, 7th year, they rest the field to regain all the nutrients. We are likewise. We need rest to rejuvenate, recuperate, and process things that we've had during the daytime. And then the last is S is for supplement. That's what I shared. We do not get all the nutrients we once had when, let's say, you think about first man was on the earth, Adam and Eve say, they had nutrients from the fruits and vegetables and waters and ocean and all that was there. But our soil, our water is not the same as back then. We have too many contaminants, pollutants, etc. So we need supplements. And this is where your Omnia and LifePharm's other products and many others are trying to help us, because it's giving that which you're lacking. It's supplement means to add to, right? So that's DSS.
Right.
A way for you to wake up in the morning and say, how am I going to dress? So I'm not walking around like emperor without clothes.
You're a medical advisory board member for LifePharm. So you really have done a lot of research on their products and really believe in the integrity of their products.
It's very important that, when you want to share with people, to study and learn about it, but also to understand all the research and all the effort, especially for that embryo growth factor, that's really very essential. I think that's why it's in every one of their products, because they really have done the research and other people have recognized it too. Everyone's boiling down to understanding that you need growth factor, and the growth factor that was extensively researched and patented.
Well, Dr. Wong, thank you so much for being with us today and telling us all about Omnia. And I would love to have you back to talk about not only other LifePharm products, but other research you're doing, other things that you're working with. You're just a wealth of knowledge and really have an understanding of the things that we need to do to stay healthy, to repair our cells, and to stay youthful. So thank you again so much for being here.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I hope that we all continue to learn and expand our knowledge to take better care of our own health. That's what's great, that you can access information and then be able to search out yourself what really is true or not. And I know you'll know in your heart, this resonates with me, that this is what I need for me.
A listener note: OMNIA is manufactured in a facility that upholds current good manufacturing practices and is U.S. Food and Drug Administration compliant. It is safe to consume for adults and children over 12 years. While there are no documented cases or instances of adverse reactions, please don't take OMNIA if you're allergic to eggs, fish, or soy. You can learn more about OMNIA and all of the other outstanding nutritional products by LifePharm at www.lifepharm.com. That's www.lifepharm.com. Thank you so much, listeners, for joining me for Healthy Cells, Healthy You. I'm your host, Janet Walker. And thanks to the good people of LifePharm who care about providing the highest quality supplements for health and cellular repair. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and tell your friends. Together, we'll build healthy cells and a healthy you.